parrot because the bird's freaky looking to me, you know.
That's funny.
So she steps up on the kitchen chair, the back side, next to the chair I'm
Hello, hello, everybody. We're going to go ahead and get started here, but welcome and thank you for joining us for tonight's class. I'm going to attempt to do some different things. We're going to try to get the slideshow on here, so stick with us. If there's any audio problems, just go ahead and comment. It says it's working on my end, but who really knows? Okay, so we're gonna see here. But welcome. I'm really excited to talk about stress solutions. But welcome to Health Simplified, and we're already off to my PowerPoint not working, but we'll see here. My name is Tanisha Kingsbury, and I am really honored to be the owner of Health Simplified. Technology's not my gift, so work with me here, y'all. Everything look good on that end there, Sadie? Perfect. Okay, there we go. I'm going to start, for those of us that are joining here, I'm going to start by just doing a little sign in. Everybody today that's here is going to get a free book, so we'll pass those out at the end. So we have some free samples and goodies and whatnot. And we'll go ahead and begin. So before we begin, we're going to do that sign-in sheet. Also silence your cell phones and feel free to ask questions. So if you're watching live, go ahead and comment. Miss Bella's keeping an eye on that. So we'll make sure that we answer any of those questions. If you think of a question later, you can also go to the website and hit contact us and submit it that way. We're going to explore some really wonderful things tonight. So we're going to talk about what anxiety and stress do to the body. We know that we have a certain amount of stress just in our day-to-day lives. The most common thing I see is that people know that they have stress, but they don't fully understand the depth of the physical effects that can cause, or even just for their mental, emotional, or even troubles that it can cause with hormones or sleeping and things like that. So we want to understand the depth of it. And we accept it kind of just, it's like it's the American way, or, mom life, and I get all of that. We need to make sure that we're helping to combat what life looks like in 2025, okay? We're going to also talk about how gut health, hormones, and nutrients impact our mood. The reality is we're not going to really alter the stress around us per se. We can certainly make decisions that will help rid any unnecessary stress in our lives, but what we really need to do is make sure that we have the right nutrition to respond properly to stress. And we're going to learn some natural tools to support calm, clarity, and emotional balance. The real purpose of teaching these classes is that not enough people know that we don't just have to accept stress or anxiety, or, like last month I was talking about heart stuff and different things. We don't just have to accept that as just, oh, that's just the way it is. There's so many tools that can really be life-changing, and that's the point of these classes, is to try to help as many people as possible. And me, so much more, because I really am living out my life's mission here in Olivet to try to help as many people as possible. And I love to talk about natural health, so who knows what we'll come up with tonight. It's like drinking from the fire hose. So why we are here. Anxiety and stress are at an all-time high. Anxiety, there was always anxiety, but it wasn't as talked about or mainstream or rampant as it is now. Now it's almost like a badge of honor, like, oh, I have anxiety. I have panic attacks too. There's a lot that we can do to help calm that. And many people are coping instead of truly healing. I think that's true for probably anything, but particularly mental and emotional things, because our society doesn't fully have the tools mainstream like I'd like to see in my lifetime. And you can live without chronic anxiety or stress. So me, I'm a nerd, so I want to look at these statistics. So 76%, this is such a staggering number, 76% of adults in the United States reported experiencing health impacts from stress in the past month, including headaches, fatigue, and sleep issues. Has anybody ever felt like I've been so stressed, I've had headaches or sleep issues or fatigue? Okay, lots of hands raised and head shaking. Yes. Well, not seeing. Sorry, guys. Not seeing the PowerPoint. So you can see me now, right?
Yes, we can see you.
And can you see the PowerPoint now?
Do you have it on a specific tab?
Yeah, so I should be able to see it here, and I should be in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Or here.
Yeah, and it's not showing up
Okay.
right now. We can just keep going.
Having technical difficulties on my side, it literally shows that you're seeing the PowerPoint, but I'm sorry, apparently
it's
you're
doing
not.
This one. Is there another tab open for that?
For this one?
Mm-hmm.
No.
Okay.
So does it change anything if I open the whole thing? Does it change anything? It's not changing the page. That's what's interesting. Okay, but look at my beautiful staff in the front of the store. Isn't that enough? Okay, I get that it's not, but I do have a lovely PowerPoint. Full screen. There's that. My apologies. I don't know why it's not rolling with this because I'm just going to try 1 second of troubleshooting and then we'll have to move on because let's be real, not my gift at all. Does that change anything for it? I see. If I go like this, does it change it? No. Nothing changes it at all. Okay, I don't know because I can't even.
We'll figure it out.
Sorry, we'll figure it out. We're rolling with it. My apologies. The problem is, I can't fix something, A, that I don't understand, and B, uh-oh, look, there's a different one. Did I mention it's hard to fix something I don't understand? And also something that I can't see, because now it's not up there.
Yeah.
Okay. So... Well, that's what we're gonna do. Yeah, that's the thing is you're trying to, I'm trying to mix like naturopathy with like getting it to information into people's hands. And I don't have the tech gene, or I do, just not a good one, right? Okay. Sorry. Now it's there. Yay!
Maybe you're too close.
The problem is, again, how do I fix something that I don't know how fixed? So, I guess it'll just be interesting. Anyway, like I was saying, approximately 19.1% of US adults experience an anxiety disorder in the past year. And I will say, even in just the past 5 years, I've certainly seen an increase, or people that they're like, I would never say previously in my life that I had anxiety or that I felt this level of stress. There's certainly been changes over the years, just in the last 5 that I've seen, where it's the playing field has certainly changed. Around 61% of adults feel that people around them, and I found this so interesting I had to include them, people around them expect them to simply get over their stress, indicating a societal trend towards coping rather than addressing underlying issues. You know, the old adage of like, walk it off. I certainly grew up the like, just rub some dirt on it generation, walk it off. We're gonna see tonight why that might not be the best approach. Because if you are truly deficient in the things that rule your nervous system, it is impossible just to be like mind over matter your way through that. I'm all for positive thinking. I'm all for, affirmations and finding positive outlets and things. But we also have to make sure that we have the right ingredients for our nervous system. This still rolling? Perfect. So common medical solutions. So prescription medications. That's pretty top of the list of mainstream. Also SSRIs, so selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors for antidepressants like Prozac and Zoloft, often prescribed for long-term anxiety and depression. And it's not uncommon with what I see as a naturopath to see people be on those for decades, okay? And they can be challenging to get off of. Benzodiazepines, so your Xanax and Ativan, particularly the younger generations, it's very common for them to use these, and they're a fast-acting relief for acute anxiety, but they can be habit-forming. When you get used to a certain level of relief, while also not addressing the root issue, it can create some challenges. And then they're also using beta blockers to help manage some of the physical symptoms, like rapid heartbeat or trembling. There has to be a better way. Now, does that mean that I am trying to shame people or judge people for needing those tools? We are all doing the best that we can, and I think there's a time and a place. As a naturopath, my hope is that we would move to a place to where we can address the root issue versus using these Band-Aids. And there are side effects that can be quite concerning, and I do see a lot of that as well. But common medical solutions, so medications don't address that root issue. The possible side effects, drowsiness, weight changes is probably the biggest complaint that I get. Or they'll describe, they're like, I just feel numb, or I feel dull. And that's, they're like, I just don't feel like myself when I'm on them. I think everybody deserves to feel like the best version of themselves. And I hope that we can give you some tools tonight, if you're feeling stressed, that you can feel like you're making a difference on that root issue, as well as not just numbing it or putting a Band-Aid on it. It's important to work closely with a healthcare provider for safe use. Very, very true. And I think it's unfortunate when we see people, that have been on them for 20 years, that wouldn't be my wish for them. So common withdrawals, and I talk about withdrawals because not enough people know that if you've been on these prescriptions for some time, you cannot just stop taking them. And the withdrawal symptoms often mimic the whole reason that you went on the medication to begin with. So insomnia, irritability, muscle tension, panic attacks. Well, what if you went on these because you were having panic attacks? But the withdrawals include panic attacks and, in severe cases, seizures. So you would never just cold turkey stop taking these. That's not what I'm saying at all. So they must be tapered down slowly. I would also highly recommend supervision for this. And the withdrawal patterns have been specifically studied for each class of drug, for each drug individually, because the tapering looks different for all of those. And like the SSRI, Prozac, Zoloft, Lexapro, they can lead to SSRI discontinuation syndrome. And the symptoms of that: dizziness, nausea, brain zaps. Thankfully, I've never experienced that myself, but could you imagine if you were in a stressful season in your life and you had debilitating anxiety, and then you've been on these prescriptions to try to help manage that season of your life, and then you feel like you're in a different place and you want to get off them, and then now you're having brain zaps and anxiety and mood swings. It's not particularly motivating, because they're like, well, I thought I was ready to get off this, but it's coming back. Or it's a withdrawal symptom. And because they mimic, it makes it very, very challenging, which usually it's common for people to then just stay on them for a long time. And please never, ever, ever stop taking them abruptly. I have met people, different people along the way, that they're like, I just decided I was going to stop taking it. I wouldn't advise that. They felt horrible. It was not a positive experience for them whatsoever. And the gradual tapering really, really helps with that. And point number 3, which, can we see point number 3? No, we're froze on the slide again. Okay. Supportive care. So these are natural strategies, therapy, lifestyle changes. They can help with all of this. So if you can get built up with natural solutions, it can really help with this process too, by addressing that root issue. What is not often understood is that a majority of the serotonin, so going back to those SSRIs, those selective serotonin reuptake inhibitors, they're acting on that serotonin pathway, but not enough people know that a majority of the serotonin is made in the gut. They're not talking about that. You know, can you imagine if you're like, I'm feeling depressed, and then a medical doctor is like, let's talk about your gut health. Okay, obviously some do, but yes.
Could anxiety be a medical disease?
I would say, yeah, there's various factors for it. It can be triggered or brought on from several different things that we'll go over tonight. That's a question in the chat then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. One of which you could have a gut imbalance. And if you don't have the right things in your gut, you can't even make serotonin. So then these prescriptions are going to stimulate that process when it's like, well, why don't we look at what makes it? Okay? Approximately 90% of the body's total serotonin is synthesized in the gastrointestinal tract. I'm going to try something here just to see, hypothetically, in this, if I have an idea. Could be a good idea, could be a bad idea. Try to bring you along on this journey. Do you see? I think there's a delay too. So maybe you will see this serotonin one. Who knows? Okay. Yeah, apparently the TV doesn't, they're not talking. Yeah, they're estranged, these. Nobody knows why. Certainly not I. Yeah, so if I click on it manually, which is virtually impossible, but thanks for putting up with me, y'all. Because now it's not working on my end either. Well. Well, you know. It's a good thing I'm good with vitamins. Okay. I won't do that again. Sorry. Only about 1 or 2% is made in the brain, serotonin, and the rest is stored in blood platelets. But in essence, your intestines are the serotonin factory. Raise your hand if you're like, I already knew that. Yeah, nobody's raising their hand. No, not enough people know that, but it's churning out these neurotransmitters as you digest food. I love that. The gut's production of serotonin impacts the brain through the gut-brain axis. So it really is a gut-brain connection. You know, and it's sort of funny because my mom was the most positive person I've ever known. And so she called negativity stinking thinking, and I think about that. Like, isn't that funny? But microbes actually boost serotonin production. So in experiments, germ-free mice, which not a fun process there, but yes, germ-free mice, so they had no gut microbes. They had 60% less serotonin in their intestines than mice with a normal microbiome. When those germ-free mice were colonized with healthy bacteria, their gut serotonin levels rose back to normal. This is a study out of Caltech. So, if you're like, I don't know, I've always had bad gut health. You have some culture in your gut. Why don't we just add to it and prove that? Because the mice had none, and then a 60%, their gut health went back to normal. So research then identified certain spore-forming gut bacteria, which is about 20 species, that significantly increase serotonin production in the colon. It's brilliant. And I love this quote, but recent studies suggest that in close interactions with its resident microbiomes, the gut can influence our basic emotions, our pain sensitivity. Isn't that fascinating? Sort of like, I have a high pain tolerance, I have a low pain tolerance. I want to know about their gut and our social interactions, and even guide many of our decisions. So a majority of our immune system, right here. A majority of what rules our serotonin in our brain, again, right here. What are we feeding it? So probiotics could be one of the best things that you could do. And I'm sure a lot of you are like, not what I thought the angle of this class would be. I thought we were going to talk about stress. I know we were going to talk about probiotics. And I love this because it's actually a brain and mood combination. So one, we have lots of probiotics. Two, if there's certain brain or mood concerns, then you can get specific strains for that because it's specifically formulated to support the gut-brain connection. Plus, it's nice that you don't have to take 6 of these a day. That's always, nice. It actually is just 1 a day. I prefer it first thing in the morning, glass of water. But it has 65 billion live cultures from 67 probiotic strains. But they're clinically studied because not every probiotic on the market has even been clinically studied, which boggles my mind, okay? But I'm a research nerd, so I appreciate that these have been clinically studied for mood, focus, and stress resilience. And prebiotics and postbiotics. I'm not even gonna try to click on this. I showed a little video thing. Oh no, it goes on its own. Anyway, we have lots of options on the website for probiotics. Can't make other things work, but that one does. Amazing! It's a miracle. Some refrigerated, some not, some liquids, some chewables. But one of the best things you could do is take care of your gut. I get this question a lot. Oh, I just have like the normal amount of stress. So is all stress bad? It's how you handle it. And it has to do with the physiological response of like, sure, sometimes we need to be stressed. Here's why. Sometimes we have to be motivated or kicked in a direction to move and do things. Now, the example I like to do is talk about is running from the dinosaur, right? But the stress response, what's actually happening is the brain perceives the stress. Have you ever been worried about something where you're like, I don't even know why I'm worrying about this? You're like, I just can't stop worrying about this thing, or you're losing sleep over this thing. And sometimes it doesn't even matter, but you can't let it go. But it's how the brain perceives it. But then the adrenal glands release cortisol and adrenaline, and the body prepares for fight or flight. Fight or flight is important, but we should not be living there. And as a whole, that's what I'm seeing for people, is that they're living in this constant state of fight or flight. And chronic activation is fatigue, mood swings, brain fog, weight changes. Cortisol. Now, what it really is a response to danger or pressure. We need to have the ability to respond to danger or pressure. Otherwise, if there's a T-Rex trying to chase us down, we'd be like hanging out, hey buddy, just get eaten, right? It is a survival response, but we shouldn't be living and surviving in fight or flight. Becomes harmful when it's constant or excessive. So the example I like to use is that it's like a light switch. So when the stress response is triggered, light switch on, fight or flight. But we need to be able to go, okay, now we can go to parasympathetic dominant. I need to go to sleep. I don't need to run from the dinosaur anymore. I can now relax. Or the fight or flight versus feed and breed. Because when you're running from a dinosaur, how you're digesting your lunch, do you think that's important in that moment? No. No, it's not. So even the energy in your body it's not a priority for digestion, and that can affect it as well. So symptoms: racing heart, restlessness, overthinking, and fatigue. It's a stress wheel. You're like a hamster on a stress wheel. So the autonomic nervous system, so this is just examples of the differences between sympathetic dominant and parasympathetic dominant. And every person is a unique blend in and within themselves. Some people are naturally, they tend to be a little bit more sympathetic dominant. Some tend to be too parasympathetic dominant, right? So have you ever met someone, or maybe it's you, that you're like, they are definitely max stressed out, so sympathetic dominant, and they talk really fast, and they're just always in a hurry, and they can't relax at all, and they just can't even sleep at night, and they just can't. Then there's the opposite. Go, but I was just kind of tired, and then I was like late, and they don't turn their work in, and they're late to work. Like, they're completely on the opposite end of the spectrum, where they're just living in the parasympathetic dominant. Homeostasis is what we're seeking, is this balance between the two, because our autonomic nervous system should be able to ebb and flow through this. Does that make sense? So the sympathetic dominant nervous system, so that's your fight or flight, prepares the body for stress. That's cortisol and adrenaline, increases heart rate and blood pressure, decreases digestion. Why? Because you need to be running, not digesting. Then the parasympathetic, which is rest and digest, returns the body to a calm state. That's where there's growth hormones, DHEA, melatonin, decreased heart rate and blood pressure, and this is where the repairing of the body takes place. So there's a time to run, there's a time to rest and heal. And if you're stuck in either one of those, that's a problem. So let's talk about the root causes of anxiety and stress. So chronic emotional stress, because that burns through your nutrition. So when you're stressed, your body's like, hello, adrenals, we're working. We're burning through magnesium, we're burning through B vitamins, we're burning through DHEA and all sorts of things that can then have later effects on other systems in the body. Poor sleep or overwork. We brag about this, right? It's like, how are you? Busy? That's great. I love to be busy. I must admit I'm too busy in ways, but I know that I am addicted to stress. And I choose it to be really motivating. And I have to live on a tremendous amount of adaptogens and things to balance that out so that I'm not burning the candle at both ends and pouring from an empty cup, okay? Blood sugar instability, really hard on the body, and that can contribute to stress. Caffeine and alcohol or poor diet, if you're rebuilding and remineralizing. Caffeine compresses the adrenal, and we're going to talk about adrenals more in depth, but it compresses the adrenal, which does produce a synthetic feeling of energy, right? But what it's really doing is compressing the adrenal and kicking you into fight or flight. Long term, harden the adrenals. Coffee people are going to be like, Nutrient deficiencies, lack of boundaries and rest. When was the last time you said no? So that you could do what you needed to do for your health versus just saying yes and lighting that nervous system on fire. Took me years to learn how to say no, and I still have to practice it. I'm not perfect, but lack of boundaries can really cause a lot of stress. And then poor gut health. So why you can't just push through? That whole walk it off mentality. Ignoring anxiety exhausts the nervous system because you're still experiencing it on a cellular level. It doesn't just disappear, right? And the example I like to use is, and there's cake ingredients up here because I love this line. To be able to calm down, you have to relax and go from sympathetic dominant to parasympathetic dominant. And if you don't have the right nutrition, the right nutrients, you don't have the right ingredients to bake that cake. That switch is burned out. Stress hormones keep your body in fight or flight, eventually leads to burnout. So I've had people be like, I just feel really depressed. And that's very valid. But I want to know the why. Because is it depression at the end of something wildly traumatic? And it doesn't have to be immediate. Is it something that your adrenals completely crashed and burned because of something really, really challenging? Antidepressants don't address that. They don't address the why. And that's what I want for people, is to address the root cause. So that's something that we should always be asking is, are we addressing the root cause? Does anybody know where the adrenals are located? Yes. Yes, they're on top of the kidneys. My kids will call them kidney cats. Yes. All inflammation can negatively affect the nervous system, yes. Yes. Which again, because inflammation, it's like a fire, and then stress is throwing gasoline on it. Great question. But adrenals, there's certain symptoms that often people don't know about adrenal fatigue. Has anybody ever craved salt? It's a symptom of adrenal fatigue. If you're like, sometimes, when I'm just feeling stressed, I just really want a bowl of popcorn. I think it has nothing to do with popcorn. I think good butter could be helpful, having some fats. Our nerves are coated in fats. But salt Craving salt is a sign of adrenal fatigue. Please make sure it's unrefined salt. Weight gain. Heard of cortisol belly? Weight gain influenced by adrenal fatigue. Frequent sickness. Why? You're running from a dinosaur 24/7, 365. Your immune system then and how you're fighting off bacteria and viruses is not as important as getting away from that dinosaur. On a cellular level, you're trying to save your life, right? But sometimes the stress is a job, or maybe you lost someone close to you, or there's just life stresses that could be causing, could be that driving force. Overly emotional from adrenal fatigue. You're at the end of your rope. Like, I just don't even know what's wrong. I just feel really sad. Adrenal fatigue. Morning fatigue. Do you wake up completely feeling refreshed? There's some head shaking. Tired after exercise? Because again, you're already on a cellular level running from a dinosaur. And I think exercise is very important. But when you're in a valley and they're like, okay, let's go for a jog, you're pouring from an empty cup. It's once more. And overall irritability. I'll see this a lot. Think of the mom years, right, with little kids. And it's a lot of stress, a lot of demands, and it's hard work to keep tiny humans alive. Well, anyone alive, but tiny humans they have a lot of questions, And you could be just burned out and exhausted, and you could feel more irritable in that. Okay, that's a normal symptom. And then lightheaded when standing up. Adrenals. So we're not going to dive fully into this, but I want you to understand that there's actually two parts to the adrenals. And in the cortex, there's actually some steroid hormones that get produced. So we're going to the left of the screen here. All the way on the bottom left here we have, I guess it doesn't shine on there, but cortisol, bottom left. That's one that we're going to talk about tonight. And some of these things actually are downstream. Some of these things are actually upstream from our hormones. So we can get stressed out to the point that we burn up the nutrients necessary to make things like testosterone or estrogen. Okay? Chronic stress and cortisol. I love that I'm having more people ask me about cortisol than ever before. Just information is more readily available. Or I'm hearing I saw a thing on TikTok. Do you think I could have some cortisol issues? Maybe. But constant stress leads to frequent cortisol spikes. And I'll see with hormone testing, like Dutch testing, which is a dried urine testing, I'll see women that are having hormone issues or trouble sleeping and things, that cortisol is spiking at the wrong times of the day. So your cortisol shouldn't be spiking at night when you need to be going to sleep. That's a sign of an imbalance. So that's all really fascinating. But it results in exhaustion and disrupted relaxation. If you're running from a dinosaur, you do not have the ability to relax. Heaven forbid somebody say oh, just relax. I would love to. I do not have the ability. About 50 to 70% of cortisol increases within the first 30 minutes of waking up. But not always the case when there's imbalances. And essential for normal daily energy patterns, we should have regular hormone fluctuations and some cortisol spikes because that's what kind of propels us through the day. But when we are propelling ourselves with an empty cup, that all gets jumbled. One of my favorite products, and I think this was one of the second products that I ever used many years ago from Terry Naturally, is called Adrenaplex. So the adrena aspect of it is specifically in reference to adrenals. There's some B vitamins and some vitamin C, which we're going to talk about a little bit later tonight. 450 milligrams of actually a freeze-dried adrenal extract, which can be so helpful. I love vitamin C and B vitamins, but I see that people recover with adrenal fatigue so much faster if we actually do some glandular, some adrenals. Okay? Tyrosine helps nourish the thyroid because the thyroid and the adrenals are best friends. So when the adrenals are out there running from that T-Rex long term for years, the thyroid's like, I see you, best friend. You are exhausted. I will work twice as hard to make up for that. And then eventually it can also pull the thyroid out of balance. I love that this also has some pregnenolone in there, which is a precursor to making some other hormones, as well as some DHEA, which is one of those upstream ones which can help you produce, women do need testosterone as well in much lower amounts than males, but we still do need some. And it's also needed for our estrogen and such. B vitamins and cortisol. B vitamins help boost energy and mental energy. And when you think about when you are exhausted, you need energy. B vitamins are just that, and they're terrific for the adrenals. Absolutely terrific. Enhances mood, metabolism, and concentration. Have you ever been so stressed you're just like, I just feel like I can't even think straight? What was I saying there? It's because you're running from the dinosaur. Your shopping list, not as important. Get away. You're running for your life. The B vitamins interact with the adrenal glands to regulate cortisol levels. So high cortisol, typically a B vitamin deficiency. And I think a common pattern that I see is that a lot of basic nutrition like B vitamins or vitamin C, sometimes they're just considered all equal. And I'm really picky on B vitamins. Because we could buy all the best supplements in the entire world, but if they can't get into our cells, what's the point? But it's really common to have synthetic B vitamins, particularly folic acid or synthetic B12, that are toxic and harmful to the body. So we want to know, are the bees bioactive? So bioactive forms are ready to use for the body, but non-bioactive forms require liver conversion to happen. That could be much more inefficient because you're adding an extra step. And what if their liver is out of balance? Okay, so taking something that's the most bioavailable is by far the best way to go. I love bioactive bees, which is a blend of B vitamins. See that I'm putting the labels up here? That's how my brain works. I absolutely love to read ingredients. Like the name, I may not remember it. Formula, that's where it's at. I put this up here too because there's some B6 in this formula, but there's folate. If it says folic, I don't even want you to lick it. Folate is the best version. And then some methylated B12. Vitamin C and adrenals. So it's so much beyond immunity. Like we use it typically for immunity, but it's so nourishing to the stress response in the adrenals. It's crucial for more than just immune support, but it helps regulate cortisol. Raise your hand if you knew that vitamin C helped regulate cortisol. Nobody, see? Spread the word. Tell the world. Supports the adrenal glands, helps modulate cortisol production during stress, so you can increase your vitamin C production. It's water soluble. If you take too much, you'll reach your bowel tolerance limit, which means you will then have to go to the bathroom quite urgently. You could find your bowel tolerance limit. I suggest you take a little bit less than that. And that bowel tolerance limit does vary person to person. So enhances resilience to stress. Again, we're not going to change the stress around us per se. Like we have some say in it, but we want to help enhance our ability to respond to it. Vitamin C, I love a good chewable. Plus this chewable has a freeze-dried orange juice in it. So it has this really nice orange flavor to it. Then it's 250 milligrams. You can do a quercetin with vitamin C, which is terrific for this time of year because then you also get that quercetin. Again, it's a quercetin with 250 milligrams of vitamin C. And a newer product that's becoming really popular has some vitamin C in it, as well as some B vitamins, and it's a drink mix. But it's energy revitalization. I find it handy too because it's nice sometimes to cut back on some pills. Like I try to have a blend because I can't just take handfuls of them, right? So adding in a drink mix can be really helpful. They come in little single serve packets. Bella, do you know if we have any more samples of that one by chance? I don't know if we gave them away or not. If we did, I'm sorry, but we might have some more. Yeah, so that's helpful for the immune system. Yeah. I mean, it also, I like quercetin even, there's great research for glucose and things like that. There's a lot of other
Only got
benefits.
one.
Okay, we're gonna have to arm wrestle over the one packet. Well, here. We will give this away later, but drink mix. Don't take B vitamins after like about 3 p.m. though. I had someone come to me for insomnia, and well, it's happened more than once. And they were on great supplements, and we're trying to figure it out. And I'm asking questions, and I said, "So, when do you take this B vitamin supplement?" "Well, I take it after dinner." No one had ever told him that he shouldn't take B vitamins at night. And he's struggled with insomnia for months.
Oh, geez.
So don't do that, okay? I also really love Cortisol Rescue. This is, again, a newer product, but people are really loving it. I know people that are finding that there's positive weight fluctuations, that they're releasing some weight, but it's vitamin C, B vitamins, and a little bit of DHA in there, but tons, it's primarily B vitamins in this. Again, don't take it after 3 p.m., but addressing that cortisol is really helpful. Echinacea. Have you ever had echinacea before? Okay. What have you taken echinacea for? Colds, maybe? Yeah. What if I told you that echinacea is actually more than just immune system response, but traditionally known for immune system, but new research shows it may help reduce anxiety. It's a natural option for emotional wellness. Plus, I love this study. So a double-blind placebo-controlled studies, which is pretty much gold standard in research, shows significant anxiety reduction. So echinacea, also known as coneflower, so I put this pretty picture up there because I do love them. I think they're beautiful. I hope to plant some at my new house. So participants taking 40 milligrams of echinacea twice daily reported lower anxiety. That's the only thing they were taking. They weren't taking handfuls and handfuls and handfuls of supplements, right? I have seen that. That's not style as a whole. Just taking 40 milligrams twice a day. And results were seen with just 7 days of use. So I've had people say, well, yeah, well, some of that natural stuff, it just takes longer. Not always. Because it takes a couple weeks before antidepressants or any of that other stuff, they say, give it time. Mm-hmm. This study was showing results in 7 days. And then benefits continued even after stopping the supplementation. Love that. How it works is that it interacts with the body's endocannabinoid system, which is that could be a whole other class of fascination. But it helps regulate mood, stress, and emotional balance. By influencing the pathways, echinacea may naturally calm the nervous system. So it's like providing a break in that running from the dinosaur. Echinacea's anxiety-reducing effects are comparable to some conventional treatments per research. Don't just take my word for it. And it's generally well tolerated with minimal side effects. One single ingredient that most people can tolerate. No withdrawals. And pets can respond to it as well, but offers a plant-based alternative for those seeking non-pharmaceutical support. We have this in what's called AngioCalm. Not only does it work, it is the tiniest pill I have ever had in this entire store. It's like the size of a pencil eraser. I'm gonna pass these around. Everybody gets free samples of this. If you place an order online, I can stick a free book and free samples in there too. Free shipping over $49, but AngioCalm. So there's 4 of them in these packets, but they're teeny tiny. There we go. Thank you. Love AngioCalm. Safe for children. You can take 2 tablets up to 4 times a day. we know from the study that they were studying 40 milligrams, which is 2 tiny little tablets. I have some people that it's life-changing for them to just take one, and if one is enough for you, take one. But pretty terrific. I wish everything was that small of a tablet, because that's a pretty easy tablet to swallow there. So how else can you adapt to stress better? Adaptogens. 2 adaptogens are rhodiola and ashwagandha. Ashwagandha has gotten pretty popular, like a lot more people know about ashwagandha and things. But they're 2 powerful adaptogens with one purpose. They reduce stress, support mood, and restore balance. This is another one of those that you don't have to take 6 a day. The suggested serving size is 1. How terrific is that? Like the Anxiocalm, you could take that daily. And typically what I see is if somebody has a lot of stress or a lot of anxiety, they'll take it more initially. And then as time goes on, like maybe they're taking it 4 times a day. And then as time goes on, they need it less and less. And then the idea is to get to a place where you just take it as needed. I notice a difference when I take it within about 10 or 15 minutes personally. And I also appreciate that it's not going to sedate me. Like I'm not drooling on myself, that's nice too. I really like that product. But Rhodiola actually fights fatigue and burnout and enhances mental performance under stress. So this formula in particular, I notice people respond to it when they're like, just can't even think straight. They're like, I just need to get my brain back on board. That Rhodiola with that ashwagandha can be very helpful. And ashwagandha reduces cortisol levels. So it's another thing to drive down those cortisol levels and supports calm sleep. Waking up multiple times at night is really a symptom of adrenals and cortisol issues. Because again, at night, what are you doing? Running from that dinosaur. And sometimes people are like, yeah, I know I have a lot of stress, but I think I just tolerate it really well. I think that's true. But let's see if your cells agree with that. Let's see if your hormones agree with that. Let's see if your adrenals agree with that. Just because you are handling it well doesn't mean that you can't handle it better, or that you won't eventually crash and burn if you just continue to be consumed by it. Adaptra, which I love this name. Probably it's because it's easy, I can remember it. Adaptogens. But this actually has the ashwagandha and the rhodiola together. So it's nice. Like, yes, we have a separate ashwagandha, but anytime I can condense a program and take less pills, I'm like, okay. But it's called Adaptra, ashwagandha and rhodiola. So I know I'm throwing a lot of information out there, and a common question I'll get after class is like, so what's like a basic program you would recommend? So you can, like, let's say you have anxiety, you can absolutely just try the Anxiocalm. Great solution. You could take Adaptra once a day and take your Anxiocalm. If you have some concerns with like energy, or you really have symptoms of adrenal fatigue, you could do 2 Adrenaplex every day. 2 Adrenaplex in the morning. You could take an Adaptra anytime. If there's sleep concerns, I'll usually kick it to the evening or just try to space those 2 out. And Anxiocalm twice a day for a while, and then eventually get to the point where you just need it as needed. Hopefully not at all, but this would be a great like base program if you're not doing anything else. Okay? And all these can be really customized to you. Everybody is different. I'm never sending people out the door with like exact same program for you, exact same program for you, exact same program for you, because everybody is so different and they respond differently. An overall stress and energy relief program, I would definitely do the cortisol rescue, because if you're feeling really low energy, we definitely need to plug in some of those B vitamins. And you could do some Adaptra to help fight that fire, and some Adrenaplex. Again, you could do 1, you could do 2, you could take all 3. It just depends on what level of support you need. And again, that varies person to person. And you can mix and match, okay? So, in conclusion, stress and anxiety don't have to control your life. I want people to know that we don't have to just accept it as like that's just the way that it is. There is so much we can do to heal and balance things so that we can sleep at night. So that our hormones are more balanced. So that we have energy through the day. So we're not just living on stimulants like your coffee or your energy drinks. It's a whole other ball of wax there. Okay. Your body is capable of healing with the right support. Our bodies were designed to heal. We need to be giving them what they need to heal. Small daily choices can lead to lasting change. And, it's common for a prescription to be like, oh, high cholesterol, take this statin forever. Okay. These supplements are needed to fill in these gaps. Now, would they be harmful to take forever? No, not these formulas. But the idea is to get you to a point where you don't need them forever, because you only need it for a certain period. Like let's fix that problem and then move on. And whether you're starting or continuing your journey, you deserve, and I want people to know this, you deserve to feel calm, clear, and in control. Maybe you have had anxiety since you were a child. It doesn't mean that it's too late to heal now. Or maybe you've never had any anxiety and now you suddenly do. We could address that too. There's no time limit on that, right? If you need help, we're here to support you every step of the way. If you have questions, pop them in there. If you still feel like you need some help, you can schedule a consultation. My favorite thing is to teach and do consultations, because I feel like I can make the greatest impact, because it's able to see exactly what people have going on and find them the right solutions so we can walk this journey together so they can feel like the best version of themselves. We have free books. Yes, I have to have a slide, otherwise I forget to hand things out. So I want to make sure that everybody is leaving with a free book. So we have, and if you're watching, keep in mind too, we will have these in the store until we are out of them, but it's Natural Relief for Stress and Anxiety and Depression. Really terrific books. This is actually a new book that I don't even think we've had on the shelves yet because we held on to it for class. But everybody here is going home with one. If you stop in, you can get one. If you place an order, I'll stick one in the box, okay? Here's some great books. There we go. Bella, did you get one of these already?
I haven't.
Perfect. We're going to make sure that you get one too, but what we can. Here you go. You get a book. You get a book. You get a book. That's funny. I love it. We do have some April events coming up. I don't know how it's April. The library was, the Charlotte Community Library was here this morning, and they do story time, so that's really, really fun to come in, and they'll do arts and crafts and story time. Love that. And then they will be back on the 16th, so that's at 11 o'clock. So homeschool moms, stay-at-home parents, grandparents, spread the word, bring the kids. It's just free and fun, and we changed the little classroom area and get some little kid tables in here, and they do a really great job, and we're happy to have them here. But it's the first and third Wednesday of the month at 11 o'clock.
Are you going to continue that throughout the summer?
I don't think that it's going to continue throughout the summer, because during the summer they do it at the park.
Oh.
I take my kids to the library a lot. We've been going several times a week the last few weeks, because I have a lull in the schedule between, we always went frequently, but now I have a lull between when the kids get out of school and when karate starts, or waiting for my son to finish wrestling before we go to karate. So we'll go to the library, and they really do a fantastic job in Charlotte, but they'll have stories here during the summer. And I said, what about during the winter? And they had mentioned they were looking for a place. They had no idea that I had a business and all of that. And so I volunteered the space, and we're really happy to offer that. Also happy to offer vitamin infusions and injections. So they will be here on the 11th and the 19th. So on the 11th, it's a Friday, so 2 o'clock. So it'll be 2 till 6. That's through Drive Wellness. You do not need an appointment. If you feel like you need some B vitamins and some vitamin C, there's a whole slew of options there through immunity support. She uses terrific methylated B12 and things. She does a really good job. So you can get injections or infusions. We have thermography here. The most popular is the breast thermography, but we have thermography here on the 15th. You can go to our events tab for any of these to get more information on that. Most of all, thank you for joining. And questions here, you can go to the website too. If you have questions, click the contact us, and you can just fill that out and put any questions you have there, and someone will respond. Do we have any questions here? Yes.
I was wondering the other day when I was seeing that you have the injections and so on.
Yeah.
I have such a hard time being hydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever just hydrate a person?
Absolutely, but my theory is this, Miss Nancy. There's a most of the infusions are they start at like $99. She offers a $99 special here. And if you have 5 things in the infusion, or if you have 1, it's $99. So they're like, I was gonna get B vitamin infusion. And I was like, okay, great. How about we get some immunity blend and some vitamin C? So yes, they do just do things for hydration, but they could also plug some other things in there that I think you would benefit from, and it would be the same price, I think. Okay. I know that I've got them regularly throughout the winter, and I'd have people around me sick, and I didn't get it, and I was so thankful. But it can make a really, really big difference for people. So yes, you could get just an IV for fluids, but I would suggest that you stick some other things in there while you're at it. Same poke, same poke, same price. Better get all the bang for your buck. Does that answer your question? Yeah. Yeah, and not everything can be intramuscular and things. Some things have to be IV. She has a whole menu that we can show you, but she really does a great job. So we have her out here regularly. And I'm also sending people out to them in Eaton Rapids. They're doing our lab draws if I order blood work. You can pay for your blood work. You'll get mailed the kit. You can schedule an appointment with them online, go do a lab draw. So we love Miss Andy at Drive Wellness. She takes good care of us. So she'll be back in a couple weeks because it's April. Because I don't know how that's possible. But I appreciate you guys joining us. And the replay will be available on YouTube. And then it'll be on Facebook for 30 days. So you can catch it there. And I'm clicking the wrong buttons again.
So if you get one of the injections or something, how long does that stay in your body?
Great question. It does vary person to person because some people have no B vitamins at all. They're bottom of the barrel, stressed, depleted. It does take, they tend to feel better, but they might notice 2 weeks to a month that they're feeling run down again. Again, it's not a forever thing. It wouldn't be harmful to get them long term, but the idea is to also address the root issue of why you're depleting yourself to that level. But I appreciate them because sometimes you can get a lot higher levels of B vitamins and get them feeling better a lot faster that way versus relying solely on digestion and things. So it's not uncommon for me to be like, get a couple of either injections or infusions to get your vitamins on the map while we're building you up nutritionally as well. So yeah, we had a lot of immune boost coming in to get immune boost through the winter and things. But yeah, they do a great job. I wish I had an exact, at this date and this time, you will feel better and it'll last this long, but there are some variables there. Yeah. And usually people will be like, I was feeling great, now I'm tired again, and I realize I haven't had my infusion for a while, I've been taking my stuff, and that happens, it's like we're humans or something. Yeah. Any other questions here? Thank you.